All right, let's jump in with one of the most important things people are concerned about when they put their property up for sale: the competition. Now, the competition can dictate where you start on asking price and ultimately where you finish final sales price agreed upon between a buyer and a seller. Now, there's three different things to focus on when we're looking at competition: presentation, how do we present the property to the public to battle the competition; price, what asking price are we using to be able to get an offer; and ultimately the strategy, what are the methods for us to be able to attract the best qualified buyers who will pay the highest price. All right, so when we're talking about competition, first, who is the competition? It's important to know what's the competition. Who's out there? What are they doing? How do we compare features and benefits of these properties compared to our subject property? Now, this is often overlooked at a deep level to thoroughly understand the board, the game. Know your enemy is a term some of you guys have heard before, and that's exactly what we need to do. We need to understand what's out there and do a deep dive on that information to understand who's the competition. Now, once we get a good look at that, the second thing that we'll look at is presentation. How can we get your property ready to market compared to the competition? Because once we know who the competition is, then we'll know to what extent do we need to make repairs, make adjustments, and make improvements, or none of the above, because we're so much better than the competition. But once we know who the competition is, then we can have a thorough conversation on what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, and have a thorough look of being able to compare apples to apples when we know what the competition is, and then we can figure out how do we best present this property with staging, with paint or carpet or new flooring or cleanup or clean out. There's lots of different things to look at on what type of pictures that we should have. Should there be aerials? Should there be a virtual walkthrough or video? There are so many ways to figure out how do we best present this property versus the competition. Third up is price. Now, with price, it's pretty simple to be able to look at the market numbers. Numbers don't lie. And yes, there'll be variances on your property versus another. No two properties are the same, even in master subdivisions. However, there are many circumstances where there are features and benefits that are different upon each house. And so we'll have to take that into consideration to see what's sold, what's currently active, and what's pending to understand where the market may be going. Is the market softening? Is it slowing? Do we have opportunity based off of the lack of inventory, or there's a flux of inventory and we need to be careful about pricing, weighing in the condition of the property and the condition of the market? This is the most complicated responsibility of a licensed agent, to be able to understand the numbers, and more importantly, be able to interpret the numbers so that you can make an informed decision and strategically engage the competition to get the highest price possible. All right, last up is strategy, and we'll tie up here with strategy. This is about being able to market the property and being able to have a strategic plan in place to deal with the competition. Now, we've looked at the competition, we've looked at how to present the property and pricing around the property. Now is the time to leverage marketing at a high level. Now, most agents are putting a sign in the yard, putting in the multiple listing service, and then saying a prayer that the property will sell. 2% of us are doing 98% of the business. And so most agents are lacking a thorough plan, a strategic plan to be able to position this property besides the multiple listing service. Like, what are we doing to be able to create visibility with Facebook and Instagram, paid advertisements, organic social media, video on YouTube, our database who are looking for properties off market, buyers who are outside the Central Texas zone. And so when we sit down to talk about aggressive new strategies, including a pricing strategy that causes people to be attracted to the home and causes dozens of showings and multiple offers, one little thing that we do, then you'll be able to get clarity and certainty on a strategy that produces results. Because if you haven't thoroughly vetted a professional on what are they going to do to be able to strategically position your home to get the most eyeballs on the property and to get the most people coming through the door, because we can't just have them see that property online. We need to get them through the door. What's being done with relationships, where there's what conversations are being had from the professional directly with the buyer's agents and buyers and at the open houses. And so there are so many pieces to consider in regards to strategically how are we being intentional to get this property sold for the most money possible. Hey, your vision is my mission, and that's what we're talking about today, is getting the most money for a property. And there's so much to talk about. So I look forward to having a conversation, whether it's now or in the future, for your consideration to sell a property, on the value that I can bring to the table to figure out how to get what you want in the time frame you want it. Won't that be great?